Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody having a good day, and today's video will be about putting the new overclocks, Tswift overclocks, onto KS5M and KS5L. So I've been running this for 3 days, the overclock. It's 16071. Hope you could see there at the bottom right there. So on the new firmware, apparently we're not gonna have this information any longer, but it will be just general version of the firmware. But assuming it's not gonna have this K5M, maybe it's just gonna be simply K. We'll see how it will appear on the new overclocks. But the new firmware has fixed the issue now as well as for KS0 Ultra. Now the new DF4 version is apparently gonna be easily factory reset firmware. So what I want to do is try to get and reset this miner first. So I'll show you step by step. So obviously you have to go and absolutely disconnect stop your monitor tool, because if this one running, it will not revert accept any firmware, by the way, even factory firmware. But especially if you're working on the firmware's overclocking, make sure you turn off your iceriver monitor tool. So this monitor tool, just turn it off or completely close it. It works for me when I just stop the file, making sure it's not working, but it's best if you close this window. I have multiple machines. I have to constantly, check the stuff. So sometimes I have 10 windows open. So a lot of time you could make a mistake if you have multiple of those and you close the wrong or stop the wrong monitor tool. So be very cautious. Check your IP address here. And when you open your monitor tool, the one you stop, make sure you stop correct IP address. So can't stress that enough, because you may create a problem and you're not gonna actually upload the firmware, even though it may say it's successfully uploaded. So I made this cursor a little bit larger so you could see what I'm going with, and Caspa color. Okay, how do you like it? All right, so we go into our iceriver updates. So I'm going to the DF3 for KS5M. All right, and there's gonna be a revert update file. Okay, so before I can do anything on this for the new firmware, make sure you follow README instructions. Again, very important, you do revert first before you go to the new firmware. Okay, so don't try to go to the DF4 version right away and try to upload anything. There is no revert files there. Okay, so we're gonna go and do the revert. So this is the ones I installed before initial. So I'm gonna use same folder and revert from there. I don't want to use somebody else's files or some other software. Make sure the one you use only that unzipped folder where you initially installed your firmware before. Okay, so now we're gonna revert first, and yes, so we stop the iceriver monitor tool. That's number one. Now we click in update. It will take probably a minute before the update complete. We're gonna get confirmation. So while it's doing that, I'm gonna show you my KS5Ls. So I have a few more running. So let me just go away with this. So I have KS5L that we're gonna also revert. So I have one running on the stock firmware. This is May batch and it's a 665, so I don't need to do anything here, but I'm running one here that it's a 12550 GA version, and I'm running here 12370 version. So we're gonna go over that, but first we're gonna do KS5M. So it says operation succeeded, so we're gonna restart simply machine. After it restarts, we're gonna do one more time double check and refresh the page to make sure we are on the stock firmware. By the way, when you're back on the stock firmware, you can do factory reset only after that. So do not try any factory reset, okay, and do not rush through this process. Very important. Do revert update first, or upload, whatever it's called, revert file, right? So we've done with that. It will refresh the machine pretty soon, maybe another minute, and we will be back on that miner. And then we could check that to make sure this is the original firmware from manufacturer, right? So right when you do, right after you do revert, by the way, it will allow you factory reset. But if you do factory reset, you don't really need to do factory reset because you're going to be back to the factory. I'm going to show you in a second. Once it's available, so it's still restarting the miner, so it takes sometimes a minute or two. So when you're back, you will basically see the 3.2.15 version, which is a newer already version of the iceriver firmware. The original firmware is 3.2.14 for this June batch, and the May batch, I believe it's even something 3.2.12 or something like that. So don't remember, but anyways, right here, now we connect into this miner, and let's take a look at the bottom, 3.2.15. So this is the factory original, and it's updated firmware. It says KS5M 3.2.15, and we have no logo, Tswift logo. So we know we are refreshed. We can do one more double checking on this KS5M and click read. So 450 was the actual overclock, the original 420, I believe, right? So once it start showing the clocks here, we're gonna see 420 is the factory clocks, and this way we know we're back to normal, right? So from that point, you could do factory reset anytime here or on the machine itself, but it will basically delete all your information here of your pool and your wallet address, workers, and stuff like that. So you don't really need to do that. You can straight from after doing revert, go straight and update to the new firmware, and I'm gonna show you in a second as soon as we see some numbers here on the clocks. You're basically gonna go back. I'll just prep it up. So now be very careful, do not go back and try install the old firmware. I would suggest you delete it altogether after you're done with your new, and it's a DF4, so it's a DevFi, I guess, version 4, okay? And if you notice, there is no initial update, there is no revert like which we used to have, like on all of these files, the revert update and initial update. So there is no reverts any longer. You don't need that. So after installing DF4, again, look, I clicked on KS5L. That's the mistake you can simply do if you have multiple miners. So need to make sure I'm using KS5M DF4 right here. It's at the very bottom right there. So that's already a problem. I could have done, just put the wrong firmware. Anyway, so we are at DF4, but hopefully with this new one, if you put the wrong, I hope, I don't know exactly, but if you put from other machine, you can still factory reset, I hope. But I'm not going to try that. I don't want to break my machine just doing that stupid mistake. So make sure you're in correct folder. So now I can go back here and try the same clocks that I already been testing. Because I'm trying to finish testing, I've been 3 days running this and adjusting the temperature. Because I'm doing immersion mining in the liquid, it's just making it a little bit harder. So I selected this file again. I'm gonna try that 16. I'm just trying to get the data actually maybe a little longer. So now we're back on the stack 420. So we know we are on the stack. We are back to factory. We can restore to factory settings without an issue from that point. So now we're gonna stop firmware again. So make sure, not firmware, but the iceriver monitor tool. Make sure you stop it or close it altogether, right? So I'm gonna stop it. And I already select the file. So one more time, check it out, KS5M. So we're working on KS5M right there. And we're doing the DF4 version, and I'm doing this 16071GA. So now we're gonna click update. And after that, it's pretty safe, I believe. We can do factory reset from that point. And similar, we're gonna test on KS5L. Factory reset because they're pretty similar machine. I just want to show you guys that it works. I don't want my KS5M kind of run offline for that long, so I'm just gonna update and hopefully put back online. Now I'm gonna show you on the pool what I'm trying to get there with the temperature. See how it goes up here. I need to zoom in a little bit and show you guys this chart right here on the pool. So what I'm trying to do here is right there is to adjust temperature. So every time if I decrease temperature by 1 degree, it starts dropping. Like right now, I adjusted 1 degree lower and it's going down again. Sometimes it's a little too high, so it's very hard on the C6 tank to get like straight temperature. So I'm trying to have here 49 degree, but it goes to 50 when it's during the day, when it's warmer, to 50, and it drops sometimes 48. Now when I have here, I adjusted to 48. I thought maybe 48 will help to keep it cooler, but it's actually underperforming with 48. So it's really tricky, so I don't get the full data yet. That's why I want to kind of keep on going with that stuff. So we'll see. At this point, we'll just wait. We have operation succeed, so we're going to confirm and restart the miner. By the way, don't try to update. What I noticed, if to try to update multiple miners at the same time, you may get failed message. I don't know if I just don't recommend that. You may not, but don't try to open multiple files and keep on updating every single. First of all, you can do mistake, because what Chrome does, see, like if I click here, I'm going to be pointing in KS5M folder, because it remembers on the same browser, you know, like it's going to get me a wrong folder there. So potentially I can do that mistake as well if I'm in a rush. So I did that before. Don't do that. Don't try to do one machine at the time. Confirm that it's back online. Confirm with iceriver monitor tool that it's working, and then go from there. So anyways, I'll be doing that test probably till end of the week, trying to get the temperature back and see and report if we have any luck so far. My average is 14.6, which I could get that probably even with the stock firmware, I think. But it's just so hard to get because it's right there. I had like 15 point average, like 15, and the pikes to 16 gigahash right there. Bunch of those, but when I reduce temperature again, it started going lower at this end. So I'm gonna try to trick a little bit my C6 tank one more time, get back to 49, but maybe not too high, maybe half of that tone. So we'll see where we're at. It's really hard to find that fine tune on that KS5M. I don't know why, it's just so sensitive. So anyways, we're back online. All right, so that's what I want to see here. One area is how does the overclocks firmware look for KS5M. It's just exactly same as KS Ultra, so it's just gonna tell you KS miner 3215 and your MAC address and your IP address. So there is nothing really to it. You don't even know if it's KS5M or what, but you know it's overclocked firmware because the stock overclocked has KS5M here version, right? Or how does this stock look? Let me see. Yeah, KS5L on these guys and KS5M on the KS5M version. So now you only have KS miner. I think it's pretty similar to what we had on the overclocked here, KS miner. Yeah, so it's similar to Ultra. It's just gonna have 325 KS miner, so you're not gonna have any different info. All right, so let's see if we took 450 clocks. It's still updating. It's been 1 minute. Usually take 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes before you see the clocks here. And once we see the clocks, we will just confirm that we are on 450, which is the firmware we were putting back the miner to. But you can't tell by looking at the firmware version. Okay, so your version any longer not gonna say, and fortunately this is the way it is. It's not intentional, I guess. It's what it reads in the description. And also, yes, please, please, when you do your miner, go through README file, because this is going to be most important items here. So read all this information, read the power usage, because you can't overclock if you're using stock fans. You're potentially going to damage your PSU, or it's going to just shut down because you're going to exceed 3600 watts on continuous. So you need to be under 35 for the safe mining, okay? And on stock, you're already running with fans. At some point when the fans go full speed, it's 34.5, 3450 watts, all right? So this is all the information how you do your same thing as you did for KS Ultra. So basically you get your steps here to revert your firmware, which we already did. And after that, steps 3, if it's a new miner, you don't need to worry about these steps, but you need to worry about step 1. Always close or shut down your iceriver monitor tool. I would recommend closing it the way it says in instruction, but if you want to risk it, do just stop it at least, because you may not gonna take that firmware. Then the factory reset are exactly same as on the new DF4 for Ultra. Is just you can do your normally get reset with clicking on the red factory settings, restore factory settings, and it should be safe. Or you do it from your miner and just press and hold the reset button. So we are on 450, so we can confirm we back to the normal, to the upgraded version of it, 12 what is it, 16.076, something like that, right? KS5M right there. So what do we have? 16.071 GA. So that's the version we use in. How can we tell? We can tell only by the clock. So if you remember your clocks, going from 420, I think, 430, 440, and 450. Is that how it is? Yeah, I believe it is. So 450 or every 5. I think you add in 5. 420, 425, 430, 435, 440, 445, 460. Yeah, something like that. Every 5 on the clocks on each firmware. And you can test and see which one. So if I'm not going to be successful on the latest, I'm going to just try to go back. Because I tried this. I went from all just to make sure my power consumption is okay. And I'm getting 3484, which is under 3500 watts. So I'm not exceeding 3500 watts, which is safe for PSU. But when it started going 3495, that's when I'm getting the best hash rate. For some reason, it drops when the temperature, see, like adjusted temperature, and my power consumption lowers. And so it lower my hash rate. Anyway, so this miner is going to start. It will take a minute, but I'll show you also for KS5L. This one running on the stock, so we're not going to touch this, and this one is being overclocked. All right, so let's look. So we're doing the same procedure. We're running the 12370 overclock, 12370, right? So, and it's the version, the DF3, so we can't simply factory reset. We cannot simply go back and reinstall the initial firmware. So what's really need to happen here, you have to go back here and find your original folder for KS5L, which is DF3 I used, right? And over here, you're gonna do revert update. Now, here where you have to stop and see if your iceriver monitor for this IP still open, and I believe mine still open, 134 IP address right here. So I don't want to try this revert update because this is very, very important. We want to get back safely to the safe firmware. So stop or close your iceriver monitor tool. I recommend closing it again. So, and then only then click update. So do not try to revert with iceriver because you want to make sure you get safely to the factory firmware. And if you didn't, potentially you're going to start updating the other clocks, and your firmware is not there yet, so you will break your board, and you will have to unbrick it. So just very careful, especially do not use restore factory. Do not try to reset from that older firmware from DF3 or any previous firmware before DF4, okay? Now, if your machine, again, new and you just got it brand new from factory, you can just simply go firmware update and go from there. So now we successfully finished this process, and we will wait till the miner gets back online, and I'll show you factory reset after we put the new DF4, because we're gonna test and make sure both of that options works perfectly and it's safe to use. So I was getting about 11.6 on this machine in average. How many days was there? Like 6 days already, probably. Should have known how many days was there. I can go back in the video and check probably, but that's too late. Anyways, so where we are, we're gonna update this. We're gonna go back home when it refreshes, and we'll be installing after we're back online. I'll come back and get my monitor tool. We'll check back this version again, make sure we're on the stock, and we'll start updating to the new DF4 version. Alright, so I'm back with the stock firmware. It's a manufacturer firmware, and I'm ready to update to the Tswift new DF4 firmware. So again, stop the iceriver monitor. That's the #1 rule. That's your very first thing to do. So let's refresh here, make sure everything running. Yeah, and we get into the stock hash rate pretty much. It's only 15 minutes, so it's not gonna have a full firmware, hash rate. Now make sure you don't go back to the same folder, because that's how the Chrome gonna revert you back. So don't use any of this firmware. DF4, that's where you're gonna go, and make sure you start, if it's a new miner, just start with the lower and go to the higher. So I was running on this testing at 12.370. You can probably try 12.550 version there on this time. So let's see if we're gonna take that and update, and it will confirm the update, and we'll come back and double check, and then we'll do the factory reset from this new version overclock. So that's what we're testing. The point of this video to show you guys that is safe, and you can go back and revert to factory settings without breaking your device. So potentially trying to get fixed over the remotely, which is not everybody wants to do the fix over your network, like giving IP addresses and stuff like that. So anyways, we did the update, so we'll go back online, and I'll come back in a few minutes. All right, so we are back and online with this KS5L. Just only 1 minute 47 seconds, but we are on the 680 clocks, which is 12 what's that version? 12 I believe it's a 12550 GA. Yeah, that's the one we use, 12550 GA. There is 2 more to go, but I'm trying to get stable on somewhere. I've been testing 12370. And again, this miner is #2 is actually right here. So, and it's running 3474. So I have a little bit of juice left to go to 35. So that's #2. On the May version, I have a lot more space there. So for some reason, even I replaced the hash board with the newer hash board there, it still worked. I put the KS5M control board, and it's still, so there's nothing have to do with the board. It's really how the way the chip set up with the PSU. So it looks like this unit was just more efficient. All right, so the May batch versus June batch, it's about 120 to 150 watt difference. So this one overclocked, this is stuck. So you could see on overclock, I'm going already almost to the max with the 12550 version. 12550 clocks. So we'll have to be careful if I go further, just not to exceed too much over 3500 watts. All right. So let's go back to the miner, and since it's been mining, right? So we confirmed the clock. So that's how you finding out your clocks here. Your IP address matches, so you know you are on this firmware here, and we start getting accepted shares. That mean we are on the network. So we're mining. The temperatures looks good. By the way, this miner is a power side up. So all this miner and KS5L is in the immersion tank, C6 tank, and therefore it's the trick here with these two latest, the KS5L and KS5M versions, to keep the temperature chips at some sort of the temperature where they not too low, not too high. Going over 90, it will drop your hash rate dramatically. Going under, like let's say between 55 and 75, it also will drop your hash rate. So you will have to stay somehow within that range. And on a couple more miners that I flipped, I'll show you guys this one. So I flipped power side down. Look, the board in temperature here showing 56 and the board out 61. So the higher on the exhaust, which is the way it's supposed to be, right? Compared to this 63 on in, 48 out. So, and then the temperature of the chips, there's 20-degree delta difference between a lower and higher. That makes it harder to make the, you know, the more consistent temperature of the chips, where on this miner I'm getting actually very close, only like a 7 to 10-degree difference, which is a lot closer between low and high, sometimes even 8 degrees, like right here, right? Only 7-degree difference, which makes it a lot easier to get the average pretty close and then make the happy mining. But still, like, see the drop, sometimes it drops at 1 or 2 boards, so which is I found it's pretty typical, and then it goes back. So with the KS5L and KS5M, it's a trickier part to get find those tuned temperatures. All right, so now the moment of truth. To conclude this video, we're gonna have to factory reset, and from the factory reset, go back and upgrade back to this miner. So I'm gonna stop monitor tool just in case. All right, so let's say you need to restore to factory, something not working, you could do from here or from actual miner. So I'm gonna click restore factory settings. It will confirm factory reset. So I'm doing it right from this newer clocks. Okay, make sure don't try that on the old version before DF4, because you definitely will break your miner. I already did once or twice, which is bad. Now I have board sitting. Luckily I had replacement board. So I have a bricked board which I cannot use until I unbrick it, so it's really a waste there. So don't try restore factory. From the previous, see, like I have the other one still to do. So if I try that on this miner, which is running on the previous overclocks, I will definitely break my miner. So do not do this. Very careful. Go with the cautious follow the readme instructions. Those are very important. Do not try to factory reset before you go and revert your update. All right, so that's a number one rule here. So once you're out of your older firmware, now we should be in the safe zone, right? We should be. So we that's the point of this video. We're testing, make sure we're gonna come back on this miner after it's back online and it's safe. We will check our monitor tool. So I'll open this, have ready to go. I'm not gonna click read until we're online. So now look at this. We're gonna get this message. So when you receive your machine originally, right, and you just plug it in, iceriver dashboard will tell you this message: machine is offline, which is totally normal. It's just the stock firmware. We went all the way back to stock firmware, not upgraded factory firmware, which is available on iceriver website, right? So we can still do, see, we go back to the original iceriver pool, wherever they have set up from the factory. So we're back on the factory setting as it's a brand new machine. So from here, you don't see any dashboard info, but on the iceriver monitor tool, we can go back to this machine and we can click read, and we'll make sure with 650, it will show up 650 clocks. And we're on 3.2.14 version, so that is the old, not updated. So that's the factory version. It's probably on all machine that came on the batch of the June batch. I don't know if the latest machine they were already upgrading to 3.2.15, but I assume that's all came with 3.2.14 version. Okay, so you're gonna get back to your factory settings here. So now how to fix that? All right, I had in the video, I repeat in multiple, you're gonna have same problem with your KS Ultra. When it comes out of the box, machine is offline, but it's mining. Once your mining settings working, you can change your pool settings here, I'll show you, and save it with no problem. So apparently you can do that, and I can set my hum pool, or I can set my K1 pool. That's the one I use. So from a K1 pool, I'm just gonna copy this stratum here, and I'll show you guys that you can actually save all the settings with no problem. All right, so I'm gonna show you that it works. All right, and my mining address is here. That's how you typically set up in K1 pool. I'm gonna just click on add and add my KS5L, right? Number 2. Is that what it was? Number 2? Yeah, number 2. So now I'm gonna copy this up and paste in every section there. You don't have to do it. You can just set your first one, and password is either 1, 2, 3 or X, or you can leave it blank. I'm just leaving X's there. And operation succeeded. So now we're gonna be back in mining, but we're not gonna see our miner in the dashboard. You're gonna have this machine offline message. Now you can go to firmware update and try to update to your factory latest firmware. I had it here, so you can try to get that one KS5L firmware back here and update. And you may get this message, machine is not connected. I showed that in previous video. You can use your iceriver management tool or batch tool, get your IP address and upgrade from here, from upgrade, and it will take your firmware. Or you can try to restart or factory reset on miner, but I cannot do this because mine is in harder to do. It's flipped, or if it's even not flipped, it's in immersion fluid. So pinking there in the fluid, it's kind of hard. So how do you do it? Yes, you do open management tool, get your IP set up. So we're gonna add this IP for 134.134. So it's easier, so I don't have to scan through entire network. All right, so we're gonna save it. So now I'm gonna be only searching for one miner that it's online right there. I'm gonna make sure it's online, so everything fine. I'm gonna go to upgrade, and I'm gonna select same IP here on upgrade version. And here I'm gonna delete all firmware. I don't wanna get something ridiculous. Okay, cancel. Delete all firmware from here. Okay, so now this is KS5L. I have an option to add firmware here, and I can select my factory. By the way, don't forget to change to BGZ option, and this is my KS Ultra firmware, or I can do KS5L iceriver firmware. So I can get to the factory firmware from here, or I can just go directly to KS5L DF4 file right there. Where's my DF4? What's going on here? We don't need there. Okay, DF4 KS5L right there, but just very careful. And I can go straight to my previous overclocks that I used, 12550. No problem. So all I gotta do is just click on that, add it. So successful. I'm gonna have this firmware right there. So I have selected miner. So even though guys, even though I'm gonna go here and it's gonna show your miner is offline, but if your batch tool connected, typically it works. Once in a while it has an issue, but do not disregard again your iceriver monitor tool. If you do, you will still not gonna get this update done on the firmware. So stop your firmware regardless using management tool or web GUI. Okay, so you gotta stop it or close it. Close it if you would like. I would prefer closing it. At least stop it. All right, so now we have everything ready to go, and we're gonna click upgrade. So from this, you're gonna have the another select one miner. Selected one miner right there. Are you sure you want to upgrade this selected miner? Yes, we want to do that. So it's gonna show the message here, and that's very important. It will tell you it's updated, but you're not gonna have it until you actually reboot your miner, restart or reboot. Do not factory reset from this point. You don't need to do that because you're gonna go back to online, but you saw it, it's safe. I've done it right from overclocked, factory reset, no break-in, so perfectly. Firmware works as same as on the new one DF4 on Ultra. So here you get the message, it's successfully upgraded, right? Upgrade success, total one miner. Now, if I go here, it's still gonna show me miner offline because I haven't restarted the miner yet. If I click restart here at the very right corner, it says machine is not connected, so similar issue, and I don't want to go disconnect power. Although on this machine I can simply cycle power. It will work pretty much same way. I can just cycle it, it will restart my second miner and no problem, right? Or I can just go back on this river batch tool, go to miner management, since I already have it open here, and just click on reboot. Do not reset it because reset is the same as restore factory settings. By the way, be very careful, use this reset. May be confusing you may with the restart. If you click that on the previous version, that's how you're gonna break your miner as well. So do not use reset if you haven't upgraded your miner to DF4. All right, so that's the cautious there. Okay, now reboot, and we can reboot just right from here with no problem because miner connected and it's online. It's just the issue with the web GUI on the original manufacturer firmware. So there are two options there. You can probably power cycle it and it will let you upgrade firmware a lot of time, or it would sometimes I just did for mining setting and refresh and it did work for me. But if web GUI not working, make sure to download this management tool, miner management tool, available in iceriver website under tutorial here. If you click tutorial, you have this manual for KS5L, and there's a batch processing tool. That's how they called it. You can download right here, English version, Chinese download. So yeah, do English and you get exactly same tool where you set your miners, the IPs and stuff like that. So it will take, so this tool not working until it's rebooting, so it will probably freeze for 2 minutes because it's waiting until the miner restarts. So you can't do anything, you can't set your configuration any longer. It looks like it's not working, but it's gonna say wait till operation finished. So current operation in process, it just probably timed. It doesn't gonna refresh on the miner reboot. It will just refresh after 2 minutes, I believe. There is some kind of timing in there. So if we go back on this miner, it's probably already online, but our tool, all right, so see, machine is offline just because it's only started, and this is not an issue. It will show in a second. First I was freaked out also, like, oh, what's going on? But if I click read and a machine, it's only 12 seconds online. So when I clicked here refresh, it wasn't online. So look at this, I'm gonna refresh and it's gonna show up here perfectly, boom. So don't freak out if you click once and it gives you a message. So see, reboot finished. So my batch tool now finally giving me this message, and I can set the new configuration or another miner here. All right, so from there, so that's how you can use that batch tool. Hopefully that information helps and you can use now KS5L safely on your new settings. So make sure you get back. Oh, by the way, my mining settings I didn't put my correctly my for some reason I don't have KS5L in the first miner right there. How did I copy? I don't know. All right, so save. Good thing I noticed. So make sure when you hear your showing correct wallet address, because you may not gonna mine, you're not gonna be connected if you're in the wrong place there. Let's say using the stratum from one pool and the wallet from the other pool, it will not connect, so you will have an issue showing not connecting, and or your mining not gonna go online and your red light's gonna be there. So just do that properly. That could be another mistake here. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it and help somebody to go back and revert. Oh, by the way, what I noticed on iceriver.io website is 2 miners are sold out, but take a look, there is no other KS3, KS5M, KS3M. They're all gone. There are only this machine left. They're sold out. Ultra. We have AL0, and that's it. I mean, that's crazy. They're disappearing here. They're probably gonna keep on going with the new machines. Alright, so looks like we're done for this video. I was gonna wait till see where we get back the full hash rate. Let's wait 15 minutes. I'll come back and I'll show you guys that we're mining. We're good on these clocks. And we'll finish with that. It's already been so long for the last 3 videos. I'm sorry about that, but I want to go, through all these details and make sure you don't get that mistake done, because it's so easy to do, and then you get stuck with your miner not mining for a day or 2 or 3 until you get it unbricked. All right, so just be very careful. This is the stressful process, but when you're done, you are in the safe zone and you don't need to worry. Like I have this KS5L now back online. It's mining, see, 47 minutes. I'll show you on my monitor tool here, 47 minutes, so reports the same. The temperature is looking good, probably a little bit too low. That's what my guess is, because the power consumption a little bit lower than when I'm getting a good hash rate. It's about 3495 to 3500 watts. So we'll have to again adjust that temperature a little bit, tweak a little bit with that to get this hash rate going back higher, and hopefully we'll see a little bit better going on these on the pool. That's what's important here. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. I don't know if we should wait. I'm probably done with this. Yeah, so it's looking all right. I'll be reporting back maybe in my weekly report, so you could see how these miners are performing on the new firmware. It's pretty much no difference, I guess, just besides we got rid of that break-in initial firmware and revert update. Initial and revert update are gone, which makes process absolutely easy. Just follow the readme instructions and select firmware right from the stock firmware. Okay, make sure you start this from the stock factory firmware. Do not try from the other firmware. Haven't tried that, but it would be a bad idea, my guess is. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thanks you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.